Everybody around you sees the same thing. You clock in, clock out, return home, maybe grab dinner, maybe scroll a bit before bed. To them, you look ordinary, but quietly you're engineering something much bigger, an empire that no one will see until it's already too late to compete. Machiavelli would have called this the art of concealment, the discipline of appearing harmless while you consolidate real strength. He warned that a prince is better feared than loved, but he must never be hated. In modern terms, that means you build your fortune in silence, without provoking envy, without broadcasting your moves. You let your results whisper for you later. Every man who has truly risen, from the merchants of Florence to the billionaires of our age, has understood this law. The Medici, for example, disguised their dynasty as humble bankers. Their ledgers appeared mundane, but behind them they controlled papal elections, art commissions, and wars. The most dangerous power is the one that no one suspects. That's what you must become. The invisible force, the quiet architect, the ordinary man no one notices until his influence is everywhere. And so, the first rule of getting rich without being noticed is, honestly, pretty simple. Master the low profile. Appear modest, even average. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by the eye than by the hand, meaning, well, most people confuse symbols for substance. Let them drive a car that just blends in with traffic. Dress like you earn less than you do. Live in comfort, not display. When fortune smiles on you, don't flaunt it, reinvest it. Because every time you announce your progress, you awaken envy, and envy attracts opposition. The modern man thinks he gains respect through attention, but the wise man knows attention is the enemy of progress. When you get a raise, resist the urge to upgrade everything. The average man spends new money faster than he earns it. The rich, well, they redirect it. Keep your outer life constant while your inner world compounds. Power that hides grows faster than power that shows. Every dollar you don't waste on display becomes another soldier in your private army of capital. When you spend to impress, you lose command. When you save to invest, you become, honestly, untouchable. Now, Machiavelli observed something pretty profound. Fortune is a woman, and if you wish to keep her under, you must beat her and strike her down. He meant that fortune, opportunity, only yields to bold action, and in our time, that action is not loud, but strategic. The second step to building quiet wealth is learning the art of flipping money before it decays. Money left idle is like a soldier without a mission. It weakens, deserts, and dies. Inflation eats at it day by day. That's why, honestly, every dollar sitting in a bank account is secretly losing its strength. The wealthy know this. They move their money constantly into assets, ownership, leverage, anything that multiplies. In Florence, merchants sent their ships across the Mediterranean, knowing half might sink, but the survivors would bring fortunes. Today's elites do the same with capital. They invest it before time robs it. You must train yourself to move money with purpose. The moment it enters your hands, it should already have a destination, into an asset that appreciates while you sleep. Real estate, index funds, private business, these are the modern equivalents of those merchant ships. The goal is not to hoard, but to deploy. The poor cling to their cash and watch it fade. The powerful circulate it and watch it return, multiplied. And yet, the secret isn't speed, it's precision. Machiavelli would say, "He who builds on the people, builds on mud." In financial terms, that means, don't follow the crowd, don't chase hype or speculative noise. The masses gamble, the strategist invests. If you master this principle, that money is meant to move from decay to growth, from liability to leverage. You'll start to see honestly the hidden structure of wealth itself. Still, there's a deeper layer to this principle that most ignore. It's not just about where you put your money, it's about where you put your attention. Every moment wasted on comparison or noise is energy lost from creation. The modern man scrolls through others' fortunes while his own potential sits unclaimed. That's why Machiavelli insisted on isolation for clarity. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command himself. In this era, that self-command begins with silence, financial silence, social silence, and mental silence. Because the moment you broadcast your ambitions, you invite resistance. The moment you share your next move, you surrender leverage. Your power decays in proportion to your exposure. So, ask yourself, are you building quietly, or are you performing loudly? Are you letting the world think you're just average while your empire grows behind closed doors? Or, are you still explaining your goals to people who honestly will never understand them? Because here lies the dividing line between the dreamer and the Machiavellian. The dreamer seeks validation, while the strategist seeks victory, but that, raises a critical question. One that separates those who accumulate money from those who multiply it. How do you make wealth move for you, silently and automatically, while you remain invisible? The discipline of movement. The second rule of quiet wealth is motion. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors the bold, but he never meant reckless. He meant those who act with speed and calculation. Your money, like your influence, must never remain idle. Think of it as a loyal army. It must be trained, deployed, and sent to conquer territory that expands your dominion. The difference between the ordinary and the elite is that the ordinary man lets his resources sit still, while the elite moves them with precision. Cash sitting in your account is like an army asleep in the field. It eats, it costs, it weakens. Inflation is the silent thief Machiavelli would have warned against. Men are quick to forget the death of a father, he wrote, but not the loss of their patrimony. Lose money through laziness, and, fortune will not return. The smart man flips cash into appreciating assets, property, businesses, funds, tools of production, really just anything that generates power while his hands are still. Look at how today's billionaires move. When Warren Buffett receives cash from dividends, he redeploys it before it collects dust. When Elon Musk sells stock, he pours it into new ventures. They all practice the same Machiavellian rhythm: no dead money, no dead time. Wealth must flow through channels that gain strength the longer they move. Now there's another principle Machiavelli hinted at: concealment of action. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, he wrote, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. This is the art of balance. Strength in execution, stealth in exposure. And that's where digital silence becomes your next advantage. Unless your livelihood depends on attention, unless your business feeds on the algorithm, disappear from the public eye. Stay off the digital battlefield where everyone is performing, because power attracts opposition, and visibility attracts weakness. Every photo, every boast, every display of progress is an open door for envy, imitation, or theft. The powerful cultivate mystique. They don't reveal their holdings, their partners, or their plans. They operate like shadows behind the curtain. In the Renaissance, political figures would hide their intentions behind layers of rumor and silence. In our age, the elite do the same, only through NDAs, private accounts, and corporate veils. They understand that when people can't measure your wealth, they can't manipulate you. That's why you must treat your privacy as currency. Delete the need for validation, resist the temptation to prove your progress. The man who moves quietly wins twice, once when he achieves, and again when no one sees it coming. Now let's move to your next level of power, long-term investing. Machiavelli observed that the wise man does at once what the fool does at last. The fool waits for the perfect opportunity. The wise commit to a plan that compounds silently. In finance, that plan is patience through automation. Forget speculation, that's just gambling with fortune's favor. The true strategist builds through systems, index funds, ETFs, recurring investments. When you automate your investments, you're creating a financial army that marches without command. Your money works in silence every month, every year, buying small pieces of the empire while you sleep. Think of it like this. In Venice, merchants sent dozens of ships to trade across the seas. Some sank, some returned broken, but the few that made it home brought treasures that covered every loss tenfold. That's diversification, a lesson older than any market chart. Modern millionaires follow the same discipline. They don't chase trends or gamble on emotion, they play the long game, steady, unshaken, and unexciting. The average man scrolls for excitement, the elite engineer boredom into profit.